Hey, how's it going? It's Tyler of crazyaboutcompost.com, and today I wanted to show you the brand new Wormin Mega vermicomposting system. In short, the best vermicomposting system that I've ever used just got a massive upgrade, and that's no joke because for just 2 additional inches in both the length and width dimensions, this thing has gotten 130% bigger. To compare to the old system, here's my old purple worm in that you may remember. So you can see right away that this is an additional bit deeper, and of course on the depth dimension it's also larger. So while the worm in system works totally fine, 10 out of 10, this one is actually cool just because it allows for more capacity. So if you're a little bit lazy like me and you don't get around to emptying your worm system that often, this gives you more room to not only add more materials but also be able to have a little more time before you process it. But regardless, you get some killer castings out of this system, as you probably already know. So let's take a closer look at this thing so you can see all the little details. Taking a closer look at the worm in mega system, you can see it's made out of this nice durable Cordura fabric, and the main quality about this stuff is just that it's really breathable, so you really don't have to worry about getting your worm system oversaturated, which is of course the problem you run into with the plastic worm systems, such as the just like a regular Rubbermaid tub worm system or even a worm factory, depending, even though those are also great systems as well. But for this, obviously the capacity on this thing trumps anything else out there, and it can easily service a household that has more than 2 people. And I actually did run into that problem with the old system occasionally, but I think just getting more worms would also help. But in general, just having such a massive system on a footprint of only 2 additional inches in either direction, this is pretty much a no-brainer. And this is ideal for somebody composting in tight spaces indoors. So while I have my outdoor composting system as well, because I'm a nerd and I have way too much to do when it comes to composting, the indoor system, of course, this is the way to go. So just to quick take a look at what's inside here, I just have a fair bit of shredded paper, and then I also have shredded cardboard, and of course the worms. Wow, it's a nice little bit toasty in here. It's strange. Well, here they are, eating away at stuff. Happily, I would say. I've only had this system a few days now. I had the former size for several years, and it was really cool to be able to try out a new system that is essentially the same great system, but again, just the capacity allows me to add more material and not be so urgent with how quickly I need to service it. And now the top, if you needed to add water for some reason, which I don't think you really will if you're adding food on a regular basis, but you can add water through the top, through this mesh screen. And then the simple zipper goes all the way around. And I'd say that would be one little trick I recommend, is when you first get this and you add your worms, and this of course is after you've had material sitting in this for several days on its own. That way it's ideal for when the worms actually arrive. But I do recommend putting a piece of tape over this zipper when you get it, because those tiny little worms, if they do get adventurous enough, they can find a way out through that tiny little crack. So if you simply put a piece of tape over this little bit, if you look on my website you could see a photo of how I did it. That ensures that you can keep worms out, but it's really not a big deal at all. On the bottom you have a bucket for collecting leachate that comes out of the bottom. This isn't worm tea, so to speak, but just essentially runoff. And then just dump it back in through the top. And then here on the bottom you could see it's just a pair of toggles and a drawstring. So really you just tighten this up, and then when you're ready to get the castings out, you just open the 2 toggles and just start pulling the material out until you get to where there's some unfinished material, and then just close it up, put them in the top. So the system really is that easy. It's pretty funny how simple this system is for how successful it is. But again, in comparison to the other systems out there, this really does trump them all. The worm in is already the best as it goes, but this one, just being that it has a greater capacity and can service the needs of more than a few people, makes it that much better. So there you go. This is the Worm In Mega, and if you haven't started composting yet, this is absolutely an ideal way to do it. So get started. Thanks.